can blast.
No,
it
you
and
actually
then I'll
rated
put
it
the
lower
Band-Aid
than I
on it.
did.
Did
You
I
lowered
really?
it. Your initial rating was lower than mine.
Really? Oh, okay. I gave this patch a 7, and then I gave overall season 2 like a 6.
Your rating. Actually, no. I think Josh should go last. 'Cause I think Josh's rating has the highest chance of being different from Az's and mine.
Okay, please.
Wow.
Sorry, Josh.
No, because like I
No,
I
just think- I just
love
think it'll
hearing
flow-
your
it'll
guys'
flow
ratings.
better.
I love hearing
Then
your
we can
guys'
see
ratings.
like both sides of it. Because for me, I am honestly, Az and I share most of the same sentiments. Like we've talked about this before in DMs and stuff. But initially, after playing 2.5, I gave it like a 7.5 for the main story. Okay, so Josh, what's your opinion? Because
Yeah, Josh, what is your opinion?
Well, as
you are the biggest Yenshugong
as
simp,
Ye
so.
Xinguang's boyfriend, I have to
Official.
rate. Yes, official guys. It's all those POVs. Those are mine, by the way. Yeah, I filmed them.
yeah.
As the number one Ye Xinguang haver, I rate, and I love to subvert expectations. I also rated it a 7. And
reason? Well, I
1
didn't actually
point
give it a rating,
off. I want to get to this straight away because this is kind of, well, as not here, but he's tapped in because of his wireless headset. Because I also agree that I would have loved to have seen not necessarily the credit scene, but I would have loved to have seen a lot more interactions with Ye Xinguang with every other faction. And this goes to not necessarily the quest being long, because a quest can be long, but instead, regardless of whatever time it is, you got to use your time wisely in how in the amount of quality and the amount of pacing that you put in, right? Because if you have like just a sandwich, just an amalgamation of like not very fresh product, that's not going to taste very good. So when it came to the story, instead of having one extra little date at the beginning of the story or whatnot, I would have loved to seen those 10 minutes be dedicated to her actually getting to meet up with the Obo Squad and Spook Shack and Krampus. But we already kind of have that interaction from 2.4. But I would have loved to have seen that at the very beginning of the story when we're like, oh, remember the first flower? The first flower started showing up in Wi-Fi Peninsula. Oh, everybody's just here. Whoa, guys. Oh, insane. I would have loved to have seen Ye Xinguang be introduced, as like, oh, Obo Squad's in this section. Let's, have Ye Xinguang like do like a fight with them or something like that, or like an animation and fight with them. And then like, or do something with Spook Shack. I would have loved to have seen what Age was talking about, doing and showing, not necessarily telling. That was a big point for me, especially off the back of, not off the back, just we didn't just come off it, but 1.4, right? 1.4 was a great moment to encapsulate all of the different factions and show that, hey, the storyline is very, very interconnected. But for me, that was one of the weaker parts of 2.5. I just felt like the factions were so separated. And funny enough, guess what? At the very last act, everyone was separated. So, hey, but
Zhufufu leading Owo Squad was incredible.
it was
so
it was real fun to see the pairings. But then I was like,
That
okay,
was
yeah,
the most
Miyabi and
goated
Banya and Dylan. Yeah, like
this
the
is
three
bizarre.
most powerful, you could balance the teams a little bit more, huh? We put all the fucking college students together with the panda.
And then we send Death Machine, Void Hunter.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, but it was
Same game, it's
good.
It was it was good. But
funny.
to kind of mix up stuff, and I talk about I kind of prefaced my ranking and my little spiel here with doing a little bit of subversion. From the get-go, I've been a little bit more negative. One of the things I loved about the story is the overarching theme, which is love. Oh, Josh, you're just in love with Ye Xinguang, and fair enough.
Social.
Fair enough. Okay. But that was not the highlight of the story at all. Like, I honestly paid very little attention to the dating aspects of the story. And as I bring up love, I paid more attention to the overarching theme of 2.x, and that's love. And I've talked about this on my stream. Love has been shown in so many different ways with the 3 major factions. We have familial love with the Yunquoi Summit with Yeshi and Yeshin Wang. We have
And Yukon and her sister.
love of comrades, of working and challenging something together, right? Opal Squad. And then we have more friendship and love with the Spook Shack. And those 3 different types of dynamics really all kind of came together in the 2.5 story, and that's something I really did appreciate. And I think they, at least for me, as I was like, that was a theme that I was really trying to look at it and break down. I really loved how they did that. But let's go back to why I took off some points, because I did not love.
Real quick, can I add in, since you talked about the theme of overall season 2?
Please.
I do think a huge thing of season 2 also was like overcoming internal conflict, because that was like a major thing and everything as well. Yi Xuan never really got over Yu Zhang until like literally just now. And that didn't get resolved until like now. The whole thing with Ban Yue also, like his traumatic past and him having to overcome that as well. Dialin, like having to her whole thing of having to deal with the voices and everything like that. Zhao having to overcome the entire like equal balance thing. Yuzaha and her traumatic past. Monato as well, like literally everyone, like even Xinguang, they all have their own internal conflict thing. Magus with Isolde, their whole internal conflict with Porcelumix, etc. When that also showcased one who can overcome their internal conflict and one who cannot. That being Isolde. I was about to say rip in pieces, but that's not how it works. Just rip in general. Rip Isolde. But yeah, I do think that was also like a very big theme, and it was really nice to see. But
yeah, back to the love aspects and the theming of love. What I would have loved, or what I would have really liked to have seen to encapsulate that even just more, is remember how Isolde shows up as the phantom thing, whatever, I don't know what you call it, but
the miasma illusion.
Yeah, the illusion. What would have been so freaking nice is that we would have seen Lucia's dad show up with Spook Shack, Isolde showing up with Opal Squad, and we would have seen maybe the mom or whatever, I forgot, from Banya's story show up with Krampus as those 3 were off, fighting. I would really have loved that as like a physical metaphor for each of their individual stories, as we kind of like tie that and wrapped up that in a little nice neat bow, as just far as like story, like writing story, like questing, execution, blah blah blah.
Imagine you saw Seed Senior's spirit in the fight as well.
That would have been brutal.
That would have been brutal, but then also
tears.
but like that's the stuff that like I felt like would have displayed the theme a little bit better, because as I mentioned, the theme of love, I don't think people kind of hone in on that at all with the 2.5 story or 2.x in general, because this whole time it's always been about love with each of the major 3 factions and the different types of relationships that we even have IRL, right? That was one thing I wish was executed a little bit better, even though I thought it was one of the stronger points of the story. And then Sarah's story,
oh my god,
got a huge docked me down a nice chunk, because the way that they expected her part of the story to like.
She no longer has her own identity and her own she's part of the hive mind. That means she's no longer her.
Yeah, but you could maybe hear her voice though.
Okay, but her voice doesn't matter if she's not an entity that can have its own emotions and think for itself and have.
No, I know.
It's just, oh,
Yeah.
Sarah, man. Sarah is like the biggest fumble that I have ever seen in my life in a story. Like, she had so much potential. I thought that 2.x was the beginning of Sarah's story. They started teasing her backstory in 2.4, and then, you know, she yeeted. And I thought that, okay, she might have yeeted here, but maybe like she'll have some sort of relevance in 2.5, or like maybe it's like, you know, getting yeeted into the creator isn't necessarily exactly what we think it is because there's so much unknown about the creator. And then they show her face, and then they're like, that's not actually her. Then why show her face? That's literally just, it feels like it's just fan service. I'll be so real. Like,
no, I don't think it's fan service. I disagree with that. I do think that that it wasn't necessarily a good resolution of her story, but I mean, her whole thing was that she wanted to offer up her flesh, and like even in the description, right? Like it does explain that, like she offered up her flesh to be used as like a vessel. So I don't think it was necessarily fan service, but
I'm just frustrated because I wanted more from her.
No, and I don't blame you. And I don't blame you. I do think the concept of her being like dead inside, like that was literally just like, that was just a shell. Like that was literally just her body that was being puppeted around. I thought that concept was sick, but yeah, I would agree that the like if this is truly the end of like Sarah's like full story, then yeah, it was a little lackluster.
Yeah.